let's check all the samples are in place. If you have a warning down at this part of the screen here saying samples are missing, then you may not have extracted your downloaded OneDrive file correctly. So you got to go back and do that and then open it again. The next thing I'm going to check is the Foley still synchronized somewhat. You know, we performed it to video, so it should be somewhat synced. So let's check. Oh, that seems to have fallen badly out of sync. The culprit for this, the source of this problem, is this warp function here seems to have come on. I'm going to turn that off. And also, I've got to make sure that the sample is starting at the start, because look, if I press play on this now again, it's off as well. So I've got to go to this clip here. So once I click this, I'm looking at Casablanca down here, and you can see I have a magnifying glass, and yes, I can see that this marker here is not at the start of the video. So this is where playback starts from. So I've got to put this as far to the left as possible. Now, once that is synced, I can be pretty sure that the rest of it is synced, at least to the extent we got it synced on the day of recording. Now, let's have a listen. Couple of things happening there. I'm just going to open my volume a bit. It's the door. Those steps kind of start and stop too early. Now, I need to navigate around this screen. I'm going to make this a little bit smaller. I'm looking for Sam's steps, so I'm looking for the names here. I'm going to use the scroll wheel on my mouse. You can see, or I can grab it here. Scroll wheel is probably the handiest. Now, we recorded two versions of Sam's steps. Now, which one are we using? Take a look here, and you can see that this one is grey and this one is yellow. So the grey one is muted, so we're using this one here. Now I want to see this in more detail, so I'm going to zoom in. To do that, I bring the mouse up here, I click and I drag down. I move this up a bit. Now I want to get it so it fills the screen more or less, and I want to play from the start, so I'm going to press double space. If I wanted to just listen to the footsteps, I can by doing this, but I think I'm okay. So the steps kind of start and then stop. I don't like that. I think all the steps prior to this point aren't needed. So I'm going to cut this area here. I can do that by highlighting it and pressing backspace. That's one way of doing it. Let's just do it that way for now, but I can also wind it like this. See if I grab the top by that, by the header here. Okay, now that's a lot neater. If I want, I can fade that in by grabbing this. I can control the angle of the fade. Okay, so that's good because it gets louder as he comes along. the next thing then is, I think, the glug that we recorded for the main characters. Yeah, that's way too loud. Where is it? I'm going to use the scroll wheel on my mouse. Is this it? Okay, now I'm going to take the gain down. Sorry, not the gain. I'm going to take the volume of the track down by 10. So this is the volume area here. If I open up info view, you can see when I put the mouse over here it says track volume. This is in decibels. Minus 10 decibels will sound half as loud. So let's see how it all relates to each other now. Now, I just got a hint of him swallowing there, maybe a little bit louder than a hint, but I think that's probably okay. Slightly exaggerated, but not so much that it's throwing me off. Now, if I think everything up until this point is okay, and I don't want to listen to it again, I can use the shift button and the space bar to play from here. Okay, now that part is okay. If I want to play from there again, I'm just going to click there with the mouse. Now, the hat seems okay, but there's this click. Now, I think I remember from class the other day that it's in the steps, so let's have a look. The way I can just use the space bar to play it from there. Yeah, so I don't like this. This is not helping things. If I wanted to be sure it was there, I can press solo. Yeah, I know it's there. What's this one like? This step here more closely matches with what Sam's feet are doing. Maybe it's a little bit late. Sorry, it's a little bit early. So I'm going to highlight this just by clicking and dragging next to it. And I can just drag that onto another track. So let's say if I put it here. Now, that's after overriding what was there. So the piece of audio that was there is now gone, and it's replaced with what I've dragged from the track above. It's not gone forever. I can get it back just by winding it like this. Or I can always Control Z back to an earlier stage. So let's kind of click here on the timeline. If I click up here, I select something, but if I click where the waveform display is, or in the open part of each track, I put the playhead there. So I can now play from this part using the space bar. Oh, I had solo on, so let's. Now watch Sam's hand and listen to the hat sound. Okay, I think maybe the hat feels a little. Is it late or early? It's hard for me to say at the moment. Maybe you know. But I'm just going to use the scrolling. I'm going to click into an empty part of a track. And I'm going to see where it's the hand is at its lowest, is here. So maybe that's where the hat drop should be. Now I can put in a marker there just by kind of clicking into this grey part, if I want to be sure. Now looking at the hat drop track, which is here, can see a little squiggle. That's where that sound is. If it was very hard to see that squiggle, I can select hat drop and up the gain, and sure enough you can see it there. Now that also increases the volume. But there's nothing stopping me increasing the volume temporarily just to get that extra bit of visual information. You see the way I didn't move the entire, I didn't do this because there's something back here. I'm not sure if I need that. I'm just going to Control Z, bring that like that, and I'm just going to take the hat bit, I'm going to put it here, and now I'm going to put this back down to 0 dB on the gain. I'll have to do that to all the other parts as well, or else it'll be very hissy. Hear that hiss? In fact, I don't need this bit at all. Oh, that was there as well. Okay, let's get this. That's okay, that's still at 0. Alright. Yeah, okay, maybe the timing is alright. Maybe it's a little bit early. Or sorry, a little bit late. Now I'm going to take the volume down just for this bit, using the gain again. Okay, for some reason this came through on it. Is this from another track? Let me see. Yeah, so why is that there? So this maybe is a recording that came out of the speaker in the studio room and went back into the microphone. So I think we could delete this. So let's see if everything's still okay if I do. Okay, yeah, that's what that was. So we deleted that because we don't need it. Do I need this? No. Okay, so that's all we need from the hat track. This part. That touch there at the hand. It almost has a staggered feel to it. Is that this? That's solo. Okay, now let's do some work on that bit. First of all, let's get rid of all the stuff that isn't the tap here. I want to up the gain again so I can see it. There's a tap here. And one there. Now they're really loud and exaggerated at the moment. But that's okay for what I'm doing. So this is, it's like a multiple hit. So maybe I could just use the last part. Okay, let's put it back down. Let's make it a little bit earlier. Okay, it's too early. There. Watch his hand. There. That's where it should be. Now I can put a marker or I can just do it by sight. Let's get it accurate. Okay, if I zoom in. Okay, it needs to be here. Too loud again. Let's put it back down. Okay. Okay, that's alright. I'll up the gain again just to see if I can. Yeah, see, there's a second hit here. I'm going to get rid of that. Now, what I've done there is I've used the split command. Edit, split. So I'm on a Mac at the moment, but Control and E will do it for you on the PC. Excuse me. Yeah, I'm going to put this back down. Now that little tiny touch is now taken care of. Still feels wrong. It feels too early. Okay. That's all right. Way too loud. Let's get that back down. Let's see if the timing's okay before I turn it down. Remember, the only reason I'm upping the gain in a lot of these situations is so I can see the waveform. I think it's on time. Okay. Let's put that back down to the dB it started at. Because you notice 0 isn't silence. Minus infinity is silence. Okay, that feels pretty satisfying. Now, the next thing that doesn't feel satisfying is the foot noise. Make this a bit bigger up here so you can see it. See, it kind of turns and then you hear it. Whereas the noise should be, that's okay, there. See, he twists and then you hear it. That's not ideal. Okay, so there's the little scratch. Let's move it a bit earlier. Oh, way too early. Now, I'm just going to Control Z. Notice the way I'm highlighting a section here. And then I just move that section. Okay, that works. Okay. How was that weird noise? Okay, that doesn't indicate anything on the screen, so that's a distraction. So goodbye to that. Okay, another overly done glug. So where is glug 2? There's slurp. Glug glug. Where is it? Okay, it ended up in face palm.
Too much.
Okay, so maybe it should be down here. So let's just bring it down there. And let's rename it. So we don't end up confused later on. Now the second half of that is okay. It's the slurpiness at the start. So maybe you could just ditch that slurpiness. Or fade it in. Okay, maybe I overdid the satisfied sigh there, which seems to start there. So for what if I want to turn down that bit, but leave this intact? Let's go back to our split command. Control E will do it. Command E on Mac. And I'll just turn down. So now we have the size of the torty. Yeah, see what I'm saying here? You know, the air was coming out of the sound of the air was coming out of his chest before he'd actually slunk down there. Okay, so we can keep that.
Too much.
We don't need that. Let's fade that out. Okay. Now, let's go back to the start. Now there's more edits for the rest. The next thing I'd move on to would probably be the piano moving sound. There's some extra bits in there that don't sound like a piano, so maybe that'd be the next thing to sort out. But just before we do that, I'm going to look at the relative volume and amplitude of everything to make sure that everything seems okay. Where's the tea bag gone for the smoke? Has that been lost in some way? Okay, so it should be here at 11. Cigarette 1. Here we are. Yeah. Okay, where is that gone? Okay, here it is. Okay, it sounds like a forest fire now, but it was a loudness issue. Okay, an extra 4 dB, will that do it? Let's take out any of the okay, yeah, that should do it. Now, there was some swishes and moves here that may need to be a bit louder. Let's see if we can up the volume on those a bit. Remember, this is just a hint of cloud sound. Yes. Okay, that extra bit of volume I gave it there. See, that's another way of turning it up. Do I need a step there? Something tells me I might. So I haven't. Yeah. I mean, that's a fairly heavy kind of step there, so I wonder, can I find something and drop it in there. Now let's go up and have a look at Sam's steps, the one I'm not using. Oomph it up a bit with the gain. And look, there is a couple of steps, so let's just see. I take this one, put it there. I'll put the gain back down, because I was only doing that so I could see it. No, that doesn't sound right. Control Z. Is this a step? Okay, that's nice. That's kind of like a foot landing. So I'm just going to go Control C or Control X for cut. And I'm going to go where this is. I'm going to click around there, Control V. I'll put that here. Now I need to put the volume back down or else it's just going to blow the head off everybody. I'm going to take solo off this track. Oh, he would probably step, then lean in, so that's a bit alright. Okay, that kind of gives me something for that moment. Now, part 2. Let's look at automation. First thing I'm going to automate is Sam's steps. And I'm going to automate the pan control, which currently is at center. And Sam steps in. Sam is more or less in the left hand side of the screen. So let's say, 50 left is going to be too much. That just sounds like to the left and behind us. Let's see what half that is. 30 left. Okay, that's a little bit better. But it's still, that's what Sam is hearing. It's not what someone sitting where we're supposed to be sitting watching the screen would hear. We're supposed to be in this nightclub, maybe sitting 10 foot in front of, I forget this character's name, but in front of the table. So let's try. Okay, that sounds a bit more natural. So maybe if it started at 20, and by the time it was here, it ended up at 15. So that's what I want to do. So how I do that is, I right click, and I go show automation in a new lane. Now I get this dotted line, so the pan amount is going to follow this dotted line. I'm going to create a dot here where I want it to start. Okay, so Sam's going to end up here. I'm going to zoom in, and I'm going to put another dot here and drag that up so it's 10 left, or 8 left. Let's try that. this side of the screen? I think he does. Now, those touches and taps, let's put them over 10 left as well. Oops, that's the wrong control. Control Z. Okay, 10 left. The door, let's put the door over 30 left. Because that's way over the side, so let's get rid of this into that. No, that works because that's well off the screen. Okay, the hash drop. Where are you, hash? Hat drop, let's put that 10 left. Okay, that cigarette is still a bit loud now, isn't it? Let's turn it down a bit. That means we can't hear it. Only the bears crackle, and so be it. But it's still important that we record it. We can't really guess what we're going to need and not need until we record it and listen to it. Now, so I think Max is this character's name. Now if Max is right in the middle of the screen, or if he's just slightly off to the right, I don't think we need to spend too much time panning him. Now the next step after this is use of reverb, but we have a lot of editing to do before we get there, so we'll leave it at that for now.